Come to order, please.
Oh, absolutely.
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been met. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the press, the Down Beach Current, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, on the municipal website, and filed in the office of the city clerk. Would you please turn off electronic equipment? We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. When finished, would you please remain standing? We'll take a moment in memory of those who lost their lives in Orlando. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Joanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I'm here.
We have before us for approval the minutes of our June 2nd meetings.
I'll make that motion, please. I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Okay, we will open for public comment. We have 3 minutes. You can speak on any subject. Is there any public comment? Please step forward, your name and address, please.
Mike Goldenberg, 7 North Haverford. I think many of you remember me from last year. First, I want to thank the entire council for the lighting ordinance that will be spoken about later on today. But we have another issue. The issue is one of safety. Right now, 8 North Haverford has become a destination. People come from all over South Jersey, not only our residents, but all over. They block the street. We had this last year. It started earlier this year. I couldn't get out of my driveway. People are cursing, they're throwing things on the lawn. This early has gotten ridiculous. We have no way to stop the traffic. What I'm more concerned about, people jam their brakes on, they back up, no one looks. My car's been hit. The man that owns the house, his car's been hit. And then they go forward and they don't look, they're staring at the house. It's a police issue. I don't know how we solve that. But I'm concerned as a resident of the street, there's a danger. And this one, I know you're aware of it. You're aware of the entire problem. Before I get into other tangents, please let me thank you again. Mr. Abbott, I know you went through a lot of work to get that lighting ordinance done. I thank you and the rest of the board. We really, the Goldenberg family, thanks you very much for all your help and assistance. And if you need me for any reason, please do not hesitate to give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldenberg. Anyone else?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, you were given a handout concerning the exorbitant cost of having the school board solicitor attend the meetings. Do you have any idea what it's costing the taxpayers, Mayor? I know.
Continue.
Stop the clock, Mayor. You'll need a few hours to figure out the cost.
That's good. But
It's over $400 just in travel expenses, and almost $800. Now, I think that's kind of a waste, Mayor, especially when we have a slew of fine lawyers, excluding, of course, Barbara Lieberman and Jack Abramoff and company, but we have talented lawyers here in South Jersey, maybe even a few in Margate, or one in Longport for sure. So my point is, why don't we get something for our money, Mayor? Why don't we get real representation on a pro bono basis? You're throwing Sayag a $26,000 bone. Don't you think he could sit once a month? It would be average out to over $2,000 a sitting. What would be the harm of him doing a little pro bono? Or do I have to go to court, Mayor, and question your grandfather clause? It's really not a grandfather clause, it's a Santa Claus, Mayor. And if you want to pay Santa Claus, you're going to have to change teams. Because this largesse on your part is illegal. It is improper. And you know, your dear pal, your dear friend, you know, contrary Miss Mary, she's going up to the Superior Court. She might just like to see your butt in Superior Court. And you know, when you give people money that doesn't belong to you, it comes under the crimes code. They call it theft of services. So if you want to be generous with the taxpayers' money, I think people might scrutinize that. But Mr. Blumberg and I might overlook it if SAG decides to do a little pro bono on the school board, gratis. Maybe Mr. Swift would do the same thing. We'd actually have 2 solicitors there. But to gouge the taxpayer each and every month, I'm asking you to rescind that contract. I know your cohort says that they are autonomous. They're not autonomous. They are subordinate and subject to the New Jersey State Constitution, to which they took a sworn oath, which demands a thorough and efficient education. Your buddy J.B. flunked all 7 indicators of efficiency. That's a disgrace.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Abby Katz, and I live at 12 North Haverford Avenue, next to 8 North Haverford Avenue. I'm a new resident, full-time resident in Margate, fully aware of the situation. In reading the ordinance, I saw that the light limit was 11 p.m. And my issue with that is it's the lights that bring the traffic in. And 11 o'clock is what people do basically is eat ice cream, hang out, and then come visit his house. And what brings them in are the lights. And my contention is those lights should be, I don't know exactly how you can do that, but those lights need to be limited far sooner than 11 p.m. That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Katz.
Art Cortelli, 114 North Lancaster Avenue. Since John mentioned thorough and efficient for the schools, this is on that same subject. Just not long ago, there was an article in the Current, and it said something about 7 areas where this is from the county, 7 areas where our school system was above the median. And the largest amount was in plant maintenance. There was $1,500 per student. And that's not $1,500 per student, it's $1,500 above the median spent in New Jersey. That's $600,000 a year just for plant maintenance. I think that we can cut that maybe in half if we took and decided to have one building instead of 2. I know there's talk about it, but it never happens. They have 2 buildings, 400 students. Shortly, we're going to lose 30 students. We're going to have graduated class of 59 and pull in a class of 29. So we're going to be down to 370 students. So there ought to be some movement towards this closing of a school. Or we're going to be reported every year and airing our dirty laundry to the county. And I'm sure it's not just a nice report. The school board answer was, it was worse last year. Well, what's worse than unfavorable? More unfavorable? Doesn't sound right. $600,000 doesn't help any of the school children. All it does is go out the window, fix the roof, fix the floor, $600,000 is a lot of money. So I think something should be done with starting to start adding some some rooms or something. It's going to take a while. Start adding some rooms to Thai school so that you're in a position to take on those younger kids that are going to come in there. Maybe kindergarten, first, and second. Take those 3 grades and start adding rooms onto Thai school. I understand it's a pretty easy job. And if it doesn't start happening now, it's not going to happen for another 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
Mr. Mayor, fellow commissioners, my name is Alan Liss. My wife Paula and I reside at 13 North Haverford Avenue. We are neighbors of both the Goldenbergs and the Katzes, who you have just listened to with regard to the foot traffic and the light problems that have been occurring on our street for the last couple of years. To tell you that it has been and probably will continue to be intolerable is an understatement. I believe it's been an exhaustive and probably a ridiculous waste of your resources with sending the police out every single weekend to curb the traffic, to curb it becomes rowdy. We can't sit on our porch, we can't sit on our decks without people driving and stopping in front of the house. If I'm coming home, I can't drive down the street without having to stop for the traffic in front of this house. One of the concerns I have is how will this ordinance be enforced? What's the trigger to allow an official of the municipality to understand the problem and to answer a call? Is it going to be through the police? Is it going to be a ad hoc committee to go around the entire community to determine which homes are in violation? I like the wording of the ordinance. I commend you on adopting this. I hope that you follow through, and I hope that it's enforced to the extent that it's necessary to prevent any hazards from occurring and to especially protect and encourage the safety that the ordinance speaks about and I believe which it's intended to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. John, did you want?
Yeah, Mayor, may I comment, sir? For all the residents of Haverford Avenue, you can sit. I just want to just say a few things in reference to some of your comments. We Commissioner Blumberg, Mayor Becker, and myself have been committed to this, and with the help of our solicitor, Scott Abbott, and naturally Robin Goldenberg was a great help through the course of the last 8 months trying to craft a piece of legislation that we felt our solicitor's exact words that needed to be enforceable. Dealing with our prosecutor in our court system to make sure it was enforceable was the prime concern. Quality of life in Margate is very important to all of us, and that's what I respect about the fact that we went to work knowing what the neighborhood was going through with not only the traffic but with the light infiltration and the uncomfortableness of living in an atmosphere with flashing lights and neon-colored things, all things that might be beauty to a certain person, but not beauty to the aesthetics of a neighborhood in a wide range. All the houses on your block, none of them have blue lights to the extent that this does. So with that said, our chief of police has made a commitment. We've had discussions. We've hired, we're in the process, and they're in training right now, special law enforcement officers. They're class 2. They're seasonal workers. They will be on bikes. They will be in cars. They will be helping us not only on the beach, not only down at our, down by where our restaurants and bars are, but they will be helping out in the neighborhoods. As hard as it's for you to accept that monument, or whatever you want to call it, across the street from Mr. Goldenberg, is an attraction to people, we don't want issues in the neighborhood. So we're going to look at it. Trust me, we're going to work hard at trying to keep traffic moving in that area. And I want to say to you that it's not going to be an issue where you're going to have to call. I think we're going to have the personnel will be queued, they will know, and they will be there. So we're hoping that we can get the lights. This ordinance has been handed to Mr. Zoltak's attorney, who I've met with at every court hearing. I went to all 3 court hearings through the winter with Mr. Zoltak, his attorney, my code enforcement officer, who will be the one that will be applying the summons at the time for him to appear in court, so that if he doesn't comply with the ordinance. We've handed it to him and said, now you have to bring your lighting into conformity with this ordinance. And we're hoping, he claims he hired a lighting expert to help him redesign to make it work according to what this is. And the enforcement end of it, as I said, our code enforcement officer will, as he has issued summons to date, that's why he's been in court all winter long, we will continue to do that. And when the time comes, Robin assured me, Robin Goldenberg, that she will help us. One of her friends is a light engineer that has this, what's it called? Spectrometer? Spectrometer. We'll bring it down here for the time being, and we'll be able to enforce it in front of a judge. So just let's work together and try and accomplish what our goal was from the beginning, trying to, control and keep our neighborhoods, the way we want them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question. May I?
You may.
And it would be for the solicitor, related to what one of the nice young women brought up. Is there the opportunity to change the time on page 5, 6, and 7 to 8 p.m.?
Because that's the critical piece.
Show me, Commissioner, where are you looking at?
Okay, so we have limits on the time that we're allowed to illuminate signs, billboards, and decorative landscaping, prohibited between 11 p.m. and dawn. How about if we change that to 8 p.m. and dawn? And then on paragraph D of page 6, we talk about floodlights and directional luminaries, lamps extinguished by no later than 11 p.m. We could change it to 8 p.m. there. And then on page 7, under curfew, we could again change the time from 11 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this then, I think, would address the concern of the residents in the neighborhood related to, an extraordinary amount of traffic coming down. If they're going to come down, they better get there before 8 o'clock.
Can I just say that?
Ma'am, we'll give you another second, okay? Hold on.
Let me respond. Yes, we certainly have the ability right now to cut back the hours. But remember, this deals with the hours of landscaping lighting. Now, there are other provisions here that deal with the intensity of the lighting. So in other words, you really can't take a shotgun and just say no lighting after 8 o'clock, or, we're trying to walk a fine line so that reasonable lighting can occur, people on the parkway, people wherever. Yes, I could certainly cut it back from 11, but remember that affects all homes in Margate, because this law can't be just applied to one person, it has to be applied equally.
Absolutely.
But if you would want to cut it back to, say, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock instead of 11, or as I worked with Dark Sky Associates, this is what the recommendation from experience in other states, other jurisdictions, that's how we came up with the 11.
And I'm just thinking, in my neighborhood, I have a neighbor who has this unbelievably bright back porch light, and it shines right in my kid's window.
Well, it probably violates this ordinance.
And in that regard, when my kids go to bed at, 9 o'clock at night, that light would have to be out.
What I'm trying to say to you, Commissioner, and it's not so much the hour operation. He could be violating this ordinance even if it's at 7 o'clock at night by infiltration.
Right,
Because
and
the
so it should
penetration
be
beyond the property line.
I should have the ability, or anyone in town should have the ability to complain and then have that addressed with the spectrometer.
That's right. Well, that's the whole idea of this, yes.
And that would be my right, and it would be my neighbor's right if there was something, out of line at my home. So again, I am all for, and thank you very much for the ordinance. I think it's a good idea. 11 o'clock is late. I would think that for the entire city neighborhoods, an earlier time might be better.
And Mayor, may I? Through you?
Sure.
Thank you. Scott, I thought we originally talked, and I think it was Mr. Goldenberg's recommendation right from the get-go back last summer, that 10 o'clock was the hour we were looking at.
Well, there's been a lot of discussions on this one, so I don't recall that, but I can amend this back down if we want to. But again, you're talking about, now picture driving down Jerome Avenue or the Parkway. We're saying, again, it would be very low intensity lighting would be allowed, but we're eliminating a lot of decorative lighting.
Well, we don't want to do that, and I think the ordinance covers the infiltration part.
Well, I think that's even more important than the time, but yeah, I fully intend, I think, number one, I believe we're going to end up in court on this. Pretty sure. That's what I think.
Wait,
Yeah,
we'll get you. Please come up here.
Why don't we,
We're going to call you back to the microphone, okay?
I don't think 8 o'clock's really going to be viewed as reasonable, but certainly 10 o'clock.
How about the wise old guy makes a suggestion?
Yeah, well, yes, please.
This was designed to help Mr. Goldenberg and you people in your neighborhood, okay? It's a step. There's been a lot of work going into this. Why don't we pass the ordinance? I think, and I'm hoping that your environment there will change as it goes along. If this doesn't work in a month or 2 months or 3 months, we can revisit it and amend the ordinance, and that's what I would suggest we do. Now you may come up. I had to get my point. You know why? Because I could feel the breeze as you were
It's
waving.
true. My light intensity is on right now. As long as the lights are on, in whatever intensity, people will come to look. The lights bring the tourists, because that's what the show is. Even low-intensity lights will illuminate the theater of his house, and that is my issue with the light, with the specific time of the lights. When the lights are off, there is no theater. As long as there are lights on the property, people can obviously see. And that's all I have to say on the matter.
Thank you. What would you like to do, guys? Here we are. John? I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No.
What do you want to do?
I think just leave it alone, really.
Modify it to 10.
What are we going to do?
Let's cut one out.
I work for you guys. You're going to have to tell me what to do. We had this circulated. We've
I would
dealt with this
suggest,
litigation.
Scott, I would suggest if Mike and John are agreeable, and we're going to, this is a first reading tonight?
No,
Second tonight. Oh, okay.
So this means I can't enforce this in 2 weeks, really. We'll delay this by a few weeks. You realize that?
My suggestion would be to move the ordinance and just modify those times to 10 o'clock.
I'm fine with that.
Good. I'm good with that. Okay. Mr. Goldberg, come on up.
No, but there's a trespass issue, too, of light.
And just one thing, Mike, I love your suggestion related to, let's see how it goes, and hopefully it'll improve the situation.
As my neighbors have expressed, 11 o'clock,
Your name again, Mr. Goldberg, just for the record, for the tape.
Mike Goldenberg, 7 North Haverford. Our neighbors expressed eloquently the problems that we have. 11 o'clock will continue the traffic. If we go 9:30 to 10, quotes, sundown is close to 9 in the summer, we eliminate a lot of traffic. People come for the show. If we can eliminate that show, we eliminate numerous problems. The traffic, lights in my window, it's just a general nuisance. When I saw 11 o'clock on your ordinance, I was upset. And we've talked about different times. But if you could put 9:30 in and wait in another year to put it, to see what happens in 3 months, we know what's going to happen. It's happened now. They're in line now looking at that house. Mr. Zoltak, whether he's cooperative or not, I don't know. He is obsessed with his lights. He will do whatever he has to keep them on. I know the man, I talked to the man, probably not anymore, but we need action, and we've taken the first step. I believe we can change the time to a little bit earlier and see what happens. I think we'll all be better off as a whole community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldberg. Okay. Any other public comment, folks? Is there a motion to close public comment? Too late.
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. Just to get back to the dunes and the drainage problem on the beach block, I had a discussion with Mr. Abbott between the meetings. It seems to me that in order to, this is a problem we already have. It's going to get a lot worse with the dunes. This has to be presented to the DEP or the Corps or whatever. That we're going to create an even worse problem here, and we have to do something about it. Now, I mean, this has got to be all up and down the state. I mean, they're just going to create all this ponding water and what have you. So I think it's incumbent on the mayor and the commissioners and Mr. Deeney to get in their face and say, this is what we need, and this is what you got to do, and just make it very clear. This is what we have to do. I mean, get their attention, and that's it. And you just can't, otherwise it's just going to be rammed down our throat, and in this case, it would actually solve an existing problem. It would be I think it would be great. That's my comment on that. And then as far as the lighting, I've had people talk to me over the years, I don't know why they talk to me, but concerning the ball field and the lights on the ball field, which a lot of times are on until 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't know. And from what I understand, you can actually see, no?
That's not true. I live on the ball field.
Okay.
The ball field lights go off after the last inning of play, which is generally around 10 p.m. at night, and there are 2 security lights that are by the vending machines, because I've witnessed people breaking into the vending machines at times for security and for the police to be able to see, because it's dark back there towards Huntington Avenue. So we have a security light there, and we have one right behind my house.
I was talking more about the seasonal lighting. The seasonal lighting, the Christmas lights. Yeah, and I wasn't talking about the other lights.
That's on all night.
All night, yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning, it's on all night. I mean, people have said to me, and they've been people of the Jewish persuasion, that don't want to say anything because they think they're going to appear to be like anti-Christmas or something, but they don't. I'm serious. And they just think it's too much. And not only that, I mean, who's looking at the lights at 3 in the morning? Nobody. What, the seagulls maybe, if they're up? It's a waste of money too. I think they should be shut off at 11 o'clock at night or whatever. And that's the other comment I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Last chance, any other comment?
Mike, I just want to add one last thing. related to the lighting ordinance. And again, for me, and I understand that people on Haverford Avenue have a problem, but for me, this is we'll tackle a citywide issue that we have if in fact there are problems that neighbors have with other neighbors related to lights shining in their houses and keeping their kids up at night. So I'm in favor of moving the time to 10 o'clock and hoping to tackle a citywide issue that we have.
That's what we've all agreed to, so that's what we're
Okay,
gonna
good.
do.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We'll now open public comment on resolutions and second reading of ordinances.
Sewell 22 West Drive, mercifully short, resolution number 112 concerning the gas and electric collective agreement. It's been my experience that these companies are initially lower, but then at the end of their 6 or 12 or whatever thing is, that it dramatically spikes up. Are we prepared to switch suppliers to get the lowest possible cost? And if both the electric company and the gas company, the standard electric and gas, are lowering their rates, will these companies match these lowered rates? I believe both.
Are you talking
gas
about
and
112, John?
That's where we're at, Mayor, 112.
We're terminating.
We're terminating the agreement, John, so I don't understand your question.
Well, I must have misread it, Mayor. I could be,
I don't
I could be
believe that,
wrong
John.
once in a while.
John,
I don't believe it.
It gives me-
I do not believe
It
it.
gives me great pleasure to
admitted
tell
you're
you
wrong?
that, John. It really does.
Oh, my gosh.
I bet you're going to leave now, aren't you,
I'm
John?
going to leave with my tail between my
Pull your
legs.
tail with you, John.
John, the reason why we terminated it is because there was no opt-out. If you engage, then our residents are committed to it, and they have to do the opt-out. That's not fair. We're looking out for you, John.
Any other public? John, your time's up. Any other comment? Is there a motion to close public comment? John, we want to close public comment. Make that motion.
I'll make the motion to close public comment.
I'll
I'm sorry.
second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Johanna, or it's up to you. Bring us home.
May I have a motion to accept ordinance number 14-2016 with a minor amendment to change the time to 10 o'clock from 11 o'clock?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Let me comment on this.
Please.
Comment from Councilor Sosa.
I fully anticipate, first off, let me say a few things. Number one, this is not aimed at one house, but it certainly will be impacting that house. And it was designed to deal with a multitude of issues. There were other homes on the water that had spotlight fights in the past, so it isn't just one home. That being said, of course, this home will be affected by it. My advice would be this. If we're going to change it, then we create the legal issue. Is it a minor change or a major change? Let's reread it again, republish it again for our next meeting. You guys tell me, what time do you want? You want it 9 o'clock? You want it 10 o'clock? You let me know, and we'll err on the side of caution, because I believe we're going to end up in court on this regardless. I don't want to give legal issues where we don't have to do that. So, Maury or John or Mike, how do you want to, you want to cut it back from 11 to 10?
Yes, to 10.
9?
The motion's on the floor to accept 10 o'clock.
All right, good.
Okay.
Cool. It's 10 o'clock, then I will go through this, but we will republish it, Joanna. Do you have, okay, we good with that?
Okay, Johanna, call the roll.
Okay.
Because we made a
Because
change
we
to
made
the...
a change.
We already had a vote on this the last meeting 2 weeks ago. An ordinance has to have 2 public readings, and then it's 20 days later, it's law, right?
Correct. Johanna, call the
Mayor
roll.
Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for ordinance number 15-2016, authorizing a private sale of a portion of real property?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion to accept ordinance number 16-2016, amending Chapter 269, Water, Article number 3?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo? Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for resolution number 107-2016, authorizing bill payment and claim?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for
Before we do
resolution?
that, we're now going to certify our annual audit. We have with us tonight our esteemed auditor, Mr. Costello. Do you have any comments, or Leon?
Thank you, Mayor. We had completed the audit report. There are no formal findings, no formal recommendations. We had a handful of minor things that we went over with the administrator and the CFO. You're in good financial shape. You have an adequate fund balance both in the current fund, the utility fund. You've had several years of very consistent tax rates. So all in all, you're in a very stable financial picture. We'll find out not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, we have a bond sale. And that bond sale should produce something under 2.5% as far as the rate goes. Yesterday, the Feds did not raise the rates, so the sales today were all under 2.5% that I saw. You have a good rating. We'll actually get our credit rating tomorrow for this. So everything's on a positive. It's all according to plan. If you remember the budget, we talked about having a bond sale. We're right on track with what we talked about a couple of years ago in planning. So all in all, I have no problems with anything that you're doing right now. And again, your finances are in good shape.
Thank you very much, Leon, and thank you for the great job you do
Thank
for
you.
Margate.
Thank you, Leon.
I'll make the motion, we certify the audit.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 109, 2016, authorizing tax lien redemption.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 110, 2016, authorizing transfer of overpayment of taxes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 111-2016, authorizing the execution of revocable license agreement for city property.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 112, 2016, authorizing the termination of an agreement with commercial utility consultant.
With Mr. Sewell's blessings, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 113, 2016, authorizing receipt of bids for Thai School storm water sewage upgrade.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 114, 2016, request of DLGS for approval of insert of grant money.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 115, 2016, request of DLGS for approval of insert of grant money.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 116, 2016, request of DLGS for approval of insert of grant money.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 117, 2016, renewal of 2016-17 liquor licenses.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 118, 2016, support of submission of grant application for the New Jersey Department of Transportation.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you, John. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here.